Good afternoon, everyone. It's really a great pleasure to be here. This is an amazing platform which brings connections, emotions, feelings, empathy, and I am really, truly amazed to be here. I can see that it's pretty addictive. Some people talked about the 16th time. I have already seen the magic starting to happen, so I think I can also get used to that. So this is my first WIN conference. It wouldn't be the last. And I just wanted to reflect on the very warm, inviting platform that we have here with a diversity of brains, of hearts, of ways of doing things that is in the room. And so I'm showing this first painting, which is really a warm platform. It's the WINConference, welcoming all of us, women and men together, different age, and gazing at the brighter future of prosperity, of happiness, and of development for all. So when I started working on gender issues 25 years ago, I was young, I was enthusiastic, I was positive. I guess I was naive. I was naive. I used to say, we are working for the disappearance of our jobs so that it wouldn't be needed. And honestly, at that time, I thought 25 years later, my position would not be needed. So you are the guinea pigs. Usually when we do gender presentation, it's like facts and figures and this. So this time I'm trying to do it with paintings. These paintings are paintings of resilience. I was in lockdown with my daughter, and we couldn't go anywhere, and we just started painting. And I thought that maybe I could use it to also diversify the way I communicate about my work. Okay, next slide, please. Sorry. I forgot I'm not at my office, sorry. We are all workaholics, would forgive me, right? Okay. So, looking at the chaos during the transition in Afghanistan, and I'm in a WhatsApp group with about 300 women worldwide, and everybody was trying to help the ones that they knew get out of the country, so people were communicating, sharing names, lists. Looking at the chaos and how women in the country at that moment saw something very threatening coming, but inevitable. And, there was no way out. And I had friends from our office calling me and saying that they're afraid they may have lost the job of their dreams just by virtue of being a woman. So I just sent a bit of love. I'm like, sending you love, sister, because I could see for girls what it could imply. It could be that you had to bury your books and getting ready to be a child bride. So there are so many implications, and I wanted to reflect on that. What's happening? I'm trying to move next. Anyway, next is also about Afghanistan. Technicians, can you help me? So when the technology fails us. Okay, here we are. The magic has happened. Okay, so looking at the chaos and everybody rushing to the airport, the famous gate was going to close, the last flight was going to take off. I also started wondering if, in a way, not all women have missed that last flight. Because there is a constant setback about rights that were acquired, whether we talk about reproductive rights, the right to food, the right to decent employment, whether we talk about equal participation in leadership. I mean, in all areas of life, I think we are free in some ways, but we are still chained in other ways, so we are not totally free. So I started reflecting on what makes women cry, okay? So I'm using the metaphor of the onion just to uncover the sad truths about gender inequalities, the stinky business, stinky and unfinished business of gender inequality that is enduring. We do a lot. I mean, I worked 25 years. We did advocacy, capacity development, conferences. I mean, everything, you name it. And you just wonder, what else can we do? What have we not tried yet? So I'm trying through art to speak to people's heart. I think the concept of heart storming this morning that I heard is one that that resonated with me. And Christine also said that beauty is the best response to ugliness, right? So I'm trying that as something different. So I invited 70 friends worldwide from different ages, the youngest being 11 years old to over 8 years old, to tell us about what they think makes women cry and what would make them smile, okay? So a good friend of mine, she's actually a senior officer in the UN, talked about how her mother took her to get FGM, female genital mutilation, performed on her. So later on in life, you know, she went to France to study. She went to do a surgery to undo it. And then she wrote a letter to the mother and said, "Mommy, I know you love me, that's why you took me to do the FGM surgery, but I went to undo what you did. So when I came to you and told you, you smiled, and I knew how much you loved me." So some of the quotes really made me cry, because she was saying, "I'm whole again." So that's what I wanted to represent here, the innocence, the loss of innocence with the FGM, and that now she's whole again. So I also very much reflect on violence against women. The bedroom is normally a warm place, a place of safety. It's unfortunately not always the case. And during COVID, there was so much violence against women at home because of the lockdown. And I think it's just important to remind people that women's bodies are not a battleground against COVID or against poverty or against anything else. You go to some countries, there is, you know, abducting of women. You know, you abduct a woman, you rape her, she becomes your wife, the family rejects her. It's called bride kidnapping, it's still widespread. So there is a lot around violence in the intimate sphere, and I wanted to reflect on that. So here I'm reflecting on, wow, time's up, okay. I'm reflecting on gender parity, and you see that, you know, the larger part here are the women, but I just wanted to show that women's leadership in the care economy, in the business of producing and nurturing the labor force, the people who would be engaged in the market, in the companies, in the workplace, it's equally important as the work that is done in the office. So during COVID, the lockdown, this is how I felt. I felt I was swallowed by the chores. I was with my daughter. I felt I was a playmate, a teacher, a cook, a professional. I mean, I was everything. And I just wanted to reflect on women's workload at that point. I am also reflecting here on maternal health. Unfortunately, there are too many women who still die of pregnancy-related complications. It can be avoided. Anemia in reproductive women is still very prevalent. So I wanted to reflect on that. This was about COVID. It's about fears to fight the pandemic. So I have my gloves. I'm weightlifting. You see green. People said it was healthy. It was good to eat healthy and vitamins. So we used to do smoothies. And then the lockdown, staying at home, the elbow, hello with the elbows. And so it was just to reflect on that moment of hardship, but also I think I was grateful because even if I worked from home, I would get paid. I knew many people working in the informal sector on the markets who could not get outside of their household. For me also, it was, there was something very comforting. I tend to say I never spent so much time in my apartment. I just loved being in my apartment. I never had that privilege. And it was also during that moment that I started painting, just casually. And then since then, I couldn't stop. So I wanted to reflect on patriarchy. In my trainings on gender, I always invite people, okay, now wear your gender glasses. What do you see? Do you see the world differently? You can see who benefits, who loses. Is your action going to impact women negatively? Is it going to increase existing inequalities because the level playing field is not even? So I use the metaphor of the glasses with the men having more opportunities to rise up and the women being in the shadow and taking care of the reproductive economy, the care economy. And I always wonder about women's partnership. I work on food security and nutrition. There are so many inequalities in access to land, other productive resources and everything. And I'm always like, it seemed like there was equal partnership for the first apple, right? In eating that first apple. There was equal partnership there. So where did we lose it? In a way that we find ourselves in a situation where women till the land, but they don't own it. What is it? So I wanted also to reflect on what it would take to make women happy. So this is about happy women. I'm thinking about action, bold action, to empower girls so that they can have a brighter future through education, through mentoring, through different things. This is the collective tongue of women, like the collective tongue of women in this room coming up on the stage and saying what women want. So that's what I wanted to reflect here and to remind us of our responsibility to echo women's voices and to listen to women's voices. So this is about mentoring. It's about, a distinguished woman with lots of experience, eager to share it with the younger generations behind her. And mentoring is also a great way to empower women. So here, I think this represents the room here. We're here to put our thoughts together so that we can act together for a brighter future. And I think after hearing the heart storming, I should also put a heart maybe, just to also reflect that dimension of the hearts coming together. And this is the last slide. This is how I started painting because I had no notion about painting. My whole life is about multilateralism. So I just saw that there was a situation, there's COVID, there's need for the world to come together to find solutions. So I started painting flags, right? I started with flags. And this one is Women of the World. It's women moving forward with confidence and wings to fly and holding a prosperous world. That's what it represents. And I think within this room, you have solutions to go towards that. What can we do to make sure that there is a brighter future of equality, of justice, of opportunities, and of prosperity for all? I would stop there. Thank you very much.